Hi, I'm Keith Bunn. I'm the pastor at New Life Christian Fellowship. Last time I was talking about the importance of seeds being planted in our lives and the uniqueness of seeds. Let's just be reminded of the uniqueness, the beauty that God has in a variety of seeds. Here are the nuts, or they can actually also be seeds. Nuts that we're quite common with, such as the walnut. There's the hazelnut. There's the almond, the Brazil nut, and the pecan. All planted in the right way, in the right conditions, go up to bear this as fruit. Jesus also mentioned the mustard seed. Look at the difference in size. In fact, in here, they range in size, some as quarter the size of some of the big ones. And Jesus commented on the mustard seed being so small, yet can produce such a large plant. Now, it's not the smallest seed known to man, of course not. But it was the smallest seed known to the farmers and the people in the area. We are to plant seeds. Seeds of peace, of righteousness, and good deeds. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to have to go out and preach to someone or quote scripture to plant a seed. You know, it's really simple to plant a seed of good deed or of love or patience or righteousness. You know, there are some people who just get passionate about it, and that's okay. It's okay when we're passionate and we tell our story with the uniqueness of our own character and flavor. You know, we're not meant to be all one homogeneous mass doing it all the same way, dressed the same, looking the same. You know, in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, there's a story about Paul and Apollos, and the people were divided because they were following one or following the other, and they were having a disagreement. Who is important? Because you want to follow the right one, don't you? Well, Paul talks about that in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 5 to 9. He said, after all, who is Apollos? Who is Paul? We are only God's servants through whom you believed the good news. Each of us did the work the Lord gave us. I planted the seed in your hearts, and Apollos watered it. But it was God who made it grow. It's not important who does the planting or who does the watering. What is important is that God made the seed grow. The one who plants and the one who waters work together for the same purpose, and both will be rewarded for their own hard work. For we are both God's workers, and you are God's field. You are God's building. Isn't that an amazing truth in Scripture? It's not what pastor you follow, what theology, what bent you have, but rather understanding that you're unique, just as New Life is unique and distinct from other churches. I'm distinct from other pastors. We have a uniqueness and a color and a flavor, each one of us. It's important. Just like Paul and Apollos had different roles to fill, yet each was to accomplish the kingdom purpose set out before them. You know, I'm so glad that we all look different. We're not all acorns or walnuts or mustard seeds, because that would be so boring. I got a look at the group of men that Jesus picked to be his apostles. They are 12 of the most uniquely flavored individuals. Some are very well known, Peter and of course we know Matthew. We understand and heard of John quite well. But a lot of them, even Bartholomew and Matthias, we don't hear anything about. Yet the apostles are like you and I. They struggle to keep on believing. Often they were admonished by Jesus, "Oh, you've little faith," and had to keep pressing on, because the struggle of faith is real. The struggle of significance is real. If you're an acorn sitting next to a walnut, you look, why are you so big? Why do you have so much difference in you? Why is your outreach so differently? Why do you grow deep roots and a unique type of wood that people revere? You know, just like New Life is different from other churches, and you and I are different as believers, we have a purpose to keep on believing and to keep alive in our faith, to keep being a shining light to those around us, and to persevere through tough and challenging times. We have a responsibility as believers to recognize the body and the blood of Christ and what He's done on the cross. You know, we have a choice. It's not over yet as believers. Hello. It's not over yet. This amazing experience of life is not over yet. This amazing experience of your faith is not over yet. Are you ready? You know, I remember in my early years in the military, getting ready for inspection. And you knew every morning there would be inspection. You knew that you would be inspected. And it was a challenge to get your bed just right, to get your kit just right. And you would prepare. And some would get ready because they knew that was so important. I will remember a time when I was on a special assignment. A special assignment because the Queen was coming to New Brunswick and we were in training in Gagetown. And the Queen would arrive, and we spent 2 weeks extra duty in the evenings, marching, parading, practicing our drill, to get ready for the Queen to arrive. Because when the Queen arrived, everybody wanted to be in top condition. Belts tightened, the tunics looking good, and the rifle and your drill, everything was sharp. So when the plane landed and the Queen arrived, we were lined up on the tarmac to be inspected by the Queen. Now the Queen was not someone you would worry about, but the Queen's husband, Prince Philip, was a different thing. He was a force to be reckoned with. And we had heard that he would like to actually inspect. The Queen would walk away. She would be about 20 feet away as we were lined up, and she would walk by and glance and very respectfully look at the troops. But Prince Philip walked down the first row and looked at each soldier and checked out their dress and deportment. And one guy in a different platoon chose not to spend time getting his kit ready. And his boots were just horrible. And Prince Philip, and I could hear clearly, I was only about 10-15 feet away, and he called over the Sergeant Major and he said, "Sergeant Major, this man's boots are deplorable." The soldier didn't care to get ready to be inspected. There's going to come a time when you and I need to be inspected, and the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords is going to look at us and say, "Are you ready?" And take me as I am. And that soldier and his consequence of not being ready cost him dearly. Am I ready to be inspected by the Lord? And it's not just at the great white throne judgment. It's every day. I mean, in the news we've heard of famous Christians that have fallen in sin. Am I ready to be inspected in my soul? Am I ready to be inspected? Are you ready to be inspected for what I've done and what I'm not doing? I believe that we have an obligation to one another, an obligation to the Lord to inspect and to be inspected by the King of Kings every moment of every day. Are my actions, are the words that come from my mouth, something that brings him honor or dishonor? For me to get ready, and I believe as Christians we need to be ready, I need to celebrate the communion of Christ. Not as some religious act, but as an important statement of relationship. Where I take the bread and break it and say, yes, Jesus, this is your body. In Luke chapter 12, verse 19, Jesus took some bread and gave thanks to God for it. He broke it in pieces and gave it to his disciples, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. Let's remember him. And we give thanks, Jesus, for your body given for us. And in verse 20 of that same chapter, Jesus takes another cup of wine and said, this cup is the new covenant between God and his people. It's an agreement confirmed with my blood, which is poured out as a sacrifice for you. Take his blood and drink it. I don't want to just celebrate communion. I want to live it. I want to celebrate it and live it every day. Alive, letting Christ enter all areas of my life and your life. Please, don't just take communion because it's what we do. We take communion because we mean it and because he died for us. We're unique, and in our uniqueness, he has given us great hope. There are none that he rejects. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that we shouldn't perish, but have everlasting life. My prayer for you is that his life would shine through you. Whether you're an acorn or a walnut as a Christian, whether you're a mustard seed, let his life shine through you. And shine all the time. And know that he loves and forgives his children again and again and again. Be blessed this day.